On the 5th of August, Britain invited her various colonial dominions to help secure various German colonies. This was done in the pretext to safeguard the mother country's reliance on global shipping to the island nation. Despite being separated by an ocean, India was asked to send troops to capture German East Africa. This wasn't the first time the Indian forces had deployed to East Africa. In fact, a portion of the original King's African Rifles was indeed made up of Indians. The Colonial Office had wanted the invasion of German East Africa to have begun on the 28th of August, but the Indian Office was being tasked with so much that this was difficult. It was recognized by the Indian Office that the outcome in Europe would be more crucial to the post-war world, and manpower would be needed there. The Indian Army staff also fostered notions that African forces in British East Africa, in their opinion, were unprofessional. Thus, 3 separate forces were planned to be sent from India initially for overseas global defense. While the Indian Expeditionary Force B would need time to pool manpower for the main invasion of German East Africa, 2 other overseas expeditionary forces were sent. Troop transports laden with men left Karachi on the 19th of August, rallied with the Royal Navy around the Seychelles. On the 27th of August, they steamed away from India. En route, Indian Expeditionary Force A continued en route to Europe, while Indian Expeditionary Force C steamed on to Mombasa in British East Africa. Force C was comprised of the following units: the 29th Punjabi Battalion, Half Battalion Jihind Imperial Service Infantry, Half Battalion Bahatpur Imperial Service Infantry, Half Battalion Kapurthala Imperial Service Infantry, Half Battalion Rampur Imperial Service Infantry, the 27th Mountain Battery, Calcutta Volunteer Battery, Volunteer Maxim Gun Company, and a section of the 120th Field Ambulance. 3,000 troops, 12 artillery pieces, and machine guns, plus 2,500 staff, logistics, and other followers. A force larger than the pre-war King's African Rifles. The core of these troops was the 29th Punjabis Battalion, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel A.B.H. Drew. Prior to departure, the 29th Punjabis had to draft 250 men from her sister battalion, the 30th Punjabis, to come up to full strength. The Imperial Service Infantry half battalions were raised from the Indian States forces, designed to act as smaller, easier to supply units. The entire force was under Brigadier General Jimmy Stewart. General Stewart had been a commanding officer in the 5th Gurkha Rifles and was seen as a safe choice. The Indian Expeditionary Force C landed on the 1st of September, immediately disembarked, paraded through the streets, and loaded onto rail cars for deployment. Leaving at 1800, the 29th Punjabis were sent to Voi region via rail. The remainder of the force continued on to Nairobi. There, General Stewart assumed command of the Ugandan and British East African colonies from Lieutenant Colonel Ward. Governor Belfield of British East Africa declared everything entirely satisfactory upon their arrival, and then immediately set about doing other things. What few British irregular troops remained in Nairobi were either dissolved, absorbed by Baker units, or sent to guard specific spots on the Ugandan Railroad. General Stewart, whose orders were to defend the colony, seemed to have agreed with Lieutenant Colonel Ward. Defending the railroad was priority, and continued to do so in depth, intercepting German parties in the bush prior to them sabotaging the railroad would be crucial, and ordered continued sweeps to be carried out. These new troops were soon to be tested as Hauptmann Schultz's German column continued to march to the Tsavo Bridge.